Hey there, nerd. Why did my voice crack like I was?
You see,
like I was a 12-year-old
now you know how
boy.
it feels like.
Steps up to the podium and croaks.
Yes.
No,
Okay. Start over. Do that one. Let me do that over. Hey guys, and welcome to our spoiler-free review of The Umbrella Academy Season 2. Here I'm joined by English Dave and Raven. Why am I pointing at you? See, Dave, this is why you should never let me do these things again.
Dave, you should have caught it.
Yeah, I should have. Well, it's because she pointed off camera. She was just like, English Dave. Like, you gotta point at the camera itself. You gotta forget.
Oh, man. We are reviewing.
Can you tell it's the first time hosting? I get to like mess you up and stuff. Like, I'm not the host anymore, so I get to be like,
Now you get to be honest. It's fun.
All right, let's try this one more time.
You know what? We might have to log out and log in again, just because. I don't think you can do it in 20 minutes.
I can do it.
20 minutes?
Yes, I can do it.
All right. I mean, you're the host.
Hey there, nerdy birds, and welcome back to our spoiler-free review of The Umbrella Academy Season 2. I am joined by my host, English Dave. What's up, Dave?
What's up? What's up?
And Raven.
What
Hey,
up?
Ray.
What up? I'm here.
So I feel like this is a little bit of like a reunion podcast, right? Maybe our first one, spoiler-free, was the first season, Umbrella Academy Season 1, so we'll check back
Possibly.
You have
in.
to check the archives on that one.
Possibly, yeah. Dave might have a DVD to give away or something. Maybe we'll make it a contest to make it fun.
Oh, I have to give something away now? Okay, fine, sure. I have things to give away. Let's do it.
Right? So
Well, you are now.
Exactly, you are now. I just put you on the spot. You weren't
You
before,
better
you
start
are
looking
now.
around the room you got over there,
Look,
figuring out what you're selling. What you giving out, Dave?
My wife was like, "Wait, what? You have to get rid of something? Sure, take all of these. Get rid of all this shit."
Oh my gosh. So, Umbrella Academy Season 2 brings back all of our favorite cast members from the bunch. We have number 5, Vanya, Klaus, Luther, Allison, and a few new cast members. Oop, and I forgot about Diego. Diego and Ben. Diego and Ben, I'm so sorry. Totally forgot about them too. But I was, I guess got excited about the new addition of characters. I get excited and I jump the gun sometimes. You guys know this about me. What can I say? So synopsis for Season 2 would basically be they went back in time again and brought the end of the world with them and they need to fix it. So, Dave, what were your expectations going into the season? Have you seen, well, obviously there was a trailer on Netflix and there was a bunch of promos on Instagram that they posted, but have you read the book? Were you updated on any of the literature before watching Season 2?
I mean, I was already going to watch it because I'd seen Season 1, and Season 1 wasn't perfect for me. Season 1 was a bit wishy-washy. I liked the characters, I liked the setting, I liked the concept, but I think some of the execution got a bit derivative, and it just kind of got lackluster in the middle half of it. And so I wanted to see more, yes, but I wasn't fully sold. But I was already along for the ride. And so coming to Season 2, I was expecting and hoping for something better, something that was just stronger. And I think the 1960s setting, going back in time, helped a lot with that, and the social commentary that came with that, because it had more to say. And I appreciated the season for that.
So what about you, Raven? Expectations going in? Were you excited? Did you love Season 1? Did you hate Season 1?
I was super excited going into this one. Way more so than the first one. The first one I was kind of reluctant to even watch. And I think like Dave was saying, like, even midway through the first season, I was still kind of like, and a lot of people that had already kind of binged the whole series were like, oh, you gotta watch it. So when I watched it, I really didn't get it until like the last 2 or 3 episodes. And then, the season ended and I was like, what? I felt like, but it was almost like the finale was the best part of Season 1. Yeah, so
absolutely.
Going into this one, I was excited only because it felt like, all right, we got all that slow, weird shit out of the way. Like in the second film, we could just go all out. And I was looking forward to that. And, I think it turned out for the better.
Same here. For a continuation of a series, I don't know. I was very pleasantly surprised. I feel like that's what you want from a show. That it honestly got better from everything that it lacked on first from season one. My thing that I think that you would probably feel the same about Raven was it was hard for me to follow because I got confused with 5. So it's not that type of show where you could like just walk in, walk out for a second and then go back in, because I definitely got confused with some of the time travel points when they were doing that. But this season, I feel like it was a lot more clear, and it had a more significant message to say, like Dave said. So I thoroughly enjoyed season 1. It had one of the best bombshell, like, oh shit moments for me. I don't know about you guys. But yeah. Dave, who's your favorite character going into season 1? I mean, season 2. Sorry, season 2.
Season 1, my favorite character was clearly number 5. Like, I think the actor is absolutely fantastic. Like,
Adrian Gallagher, who like
he's amazing.
I forget he's actually a kid. I think it's an old man trapped.
No, he's a kid in real life. Like
I know, I keep forgetting.
I went out of my way to look his age up because I was like,
how old is he exactly?
He's really 16.
Oh my god,
16 in real life. He's
but
like
I feel
16,
like he's
17.
he's a 60-year-old man in a 16-year-old kid's body, because he really embodies that like perfectly. Yeah. But I think for me,
so where I almost like wanted to Google who he was when he wasn't playing a 16-year-old.
Right.
I was like, okay, but like when you're not being a teenager,
he must be 25 at least.
Right.
Like, Tom Holland is in his 20s.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought. You know, typical, but it's no, he's an actual young person.
Yep. So season 1 was 5, and then going into season 2.
But season 2, I still love 5, but in terms of just because of the transition he made, number 1, because season 1 I didn't like it.
Luther.
Yeah.
But
okay.
Season 2, he had this come up where I feel like 2 things happened. One, they kind of leaned into his character, and so that way he became the joke. But he accepted the joke. You know, he was in on the joke himself and accepted it. He rolled with it. And 2, they did a better job of his costume. It didn't look like a costume. It looked like a body.
Last season, it looked like a backpack. I was really
right.
Yeah, or like a bad like gorilla suit.
Yes,
the whole time.
But I would say my actual favorite character in season 2 definitely has to be
Klaus. Is my favorite.
Wait, Klaus? No, Vanya?
No. Klaus is like.
Well, Klaus is like
favorite.
MVP. Klaus.
Yeah, MVP status.
Oh, Klaus is the Lion King now? Excuse me.
Yes, Klaus is that character where it's
like... He no longer counts as a Disney movie. It's just like,
who's
okay.
Your favorite?
Who's your favorite and why is it Klaus? I get it.
Exactly.
I mean, that's what I put on my page. Like, fuck everybody else. I was like, who's your favorite? Why is it Klaus? I don't really care.
I'm talking about...
Klaus is just
so your second... Oh, so these are our number 2
Allison.
Picks.
I'd say Allison...
Allison stepped up a lot for me this season.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because I did not like her season 1 at all.
I liked what they gave her in this narrative. Because her season 1 was just all about, her kid and all the romantic stuff. Season 1. Because I forget she had a kid in season 2. Like,
and I was honestly really over it. I was like,
okay. That would be the only thing that I was like, oh, yeah, she's still got a baby.
I guess. Yeah.
But this season, I feel like they did a better job with her just because of the time travel elements, going to the 60s, the whole civil rights movement and stuff. So, like, her character, of course, black people, we always make a joke that if you couldn't travel in time, where would you go? The present. Because any time before the present is worse than the present for us.
Yeah, it's worse.
I just laugh at people when they ask me, I'm like, do you mean as myself? Yeah, like, a female black woman?
As a woman,
yeah,
I get it.
Yeah, like, as a woman first.
No,
and then I'm also black. And
it's gonna be a no for me, dog.
Yeah, I want to go back to every time period for sure.
And I liked with her character, someone who, through her narrative, we see what a different version of what it means to be a hero. Mm-hmm. Like, and it's not just necessarily superpowers all the time.
Well, I also feel like she was never a hero until this season, and so I think that's kind of what this was about. Yeah, I feel like in this season, I feel like that was kind of one of the biggest overarching themes, is kind of like when your parents are no longer there to guide you and to tell you who you are, who are you? And I felt like with every character, this season, it was very much like, okay,
They came into their own.
Who are they without their father? Who are they without someone telling you you're a hero? Like, for example, Diego technically is the most heroic out of all of them. Diego's the only one, like, in the first season, he was doing what he thought was right. And then throughout this entire time, as soon as he got there, the only thing he wanted to do was correct, the timeline. So I feel like, technically he's more heroic than you would think, but he's technically not the biggest team player. So yeah, everyone kind of got more depth this season. You got to know every character. Because like y'all said, I think Luther was like my absolute least favorite season 1. For me,
that's the thing, right? I felt like they mirrored, without going to spoilers, they mirrored certain character narratives. So like while I agree with you with Diego, this season they kind of also flipped it where they were like, yeah, but you have a hero complex. Like, you have to be the hero.
And
like,
you
have to. Like,
and I was a little...
And they were making fun of him for it.
Yeah, they kind of broke him down.
Just like,
everybody got broken down a little bit, though.
This is a spoil. This is a slight spoiler. But when it's like, who's Diego? Think Batman. Then aim lower.
So bad.
That's such a dig, Shank.
It's so true. Because he does have the mentality of Batman because he's insane. But
right.
Like he has to save everything for the sake of saving everyone.
Yeah.
Even though it's like, but if you, because like there's one person he wants to save in this story, but like saving that person, yes, it's good, but the ramifications of that could lead to bad.
Yeah, I was thinking the whole time when he was trying to correct the timeline, I was like, I don't think that's not a correction. That's a.
But then we see that
time.
Right?
This is a major event. You change history, and it did.
Exactly. History doesn't necessarily, and that's the thing. It deals with the as most time travel stuff does, right? It deals with that kind of stuff, which I like.
So Raven, going into season 1 and then season 2, who was your favorite?
Going into season 1, my favorite was definitely Klaus. My second favorite season 1 was probably.
So Klaus still took number 1.
Still Klaus, and then probably.
So who's your most
and
improved?
And then the new one, my most improved, I think was I want to call her Abigail. Damn it,
Abigail, Allison. You're like the black Spanish grandma that's like, you know who I'm talking to. Come here,
her little friend. Allison.
Exactly.
I think that like for me, out of anybody, I think she was my favorite arc because going into this, I didn't expect much from her. I felt like, like I don't really care what y'all do with this character. And I felt like just, kind of the time period it's based on forces Allison into the forefront. She almost becomes the protagonist or the main protagonist, which I appreciated in this season. And I felt like in terms of acting, her name is Emmy Raver Lampman.
Mm-hmm.
Good for you, girl. But either way, I felt like she did a great job in acting. Like, I feel like she stepped up her actual acting abilities. I don't know if it's like what she had to work with was better, and she always had the acting skills.
I think what she had to work with. I think it's definitely what she had to work with.
Because it could have been that her acting skills were always there, but she just, she didn't really have the time to give it. So I appreciate that in this season. It's like, let's give her some story. Let's give her some depth.
I was going to say, like season 1, her whole story arc, it was kind of like clung on to Luther and their relationship. So there isn't really,
forced. Like, I was like,
isn't really much to work with in that respect when it's just like a woman and they have a whole like love weird tryst. But this
they make fun of it this season, which I love.
Yeah, they're making fun of the tryst, but the tryst is still like there. And then she's also, her life is significantly different.
Mm-hmm.
For me, my favorite from season 1 would probably be the handler. I had a huge crush on Kate Walsh. I thought for villain wise, that was a great story arc. And then the complexities that went in with that, because sometimes I was like, I agree with her, and sometimes I was like, oh no, she's got to go. So I really enjoyed her character a lot. And then season 2, I would say my favorite. It would probably be 5, because last season 5 was not one of my favorite. I love the actor, but his character and how he was towards the family, like that wasn't necessarily my favorite. But this season 5 kind of like grew up a lot for me.
Special shout outs to Cha Cha and Hazel, by the way, from season
I
1.
know.
have to say.
Yes, special. Yes.
I feel they'll miss
Cha-Cha.
season 2.
I definitely
They
miss.
did. I was
yeah.
hoping they would at least be like mentioned.
I mean, we just have to give Klaus like the Miss America award. Like it, like he's just great. Like
Yeah, I love
he's the best. He's the best.
I think Robert Sheehan is a fantastic actor. Like I've been keeping an eye on him from like since his British acting days, and he was on one of my favorite British TV shows a few years back, and he's great. I think he's a fantastic actor.
Yeah, I've definitely been.
What's it called? It was a superpower show. Fuck, I forget the name now. Hold on, let me get the name. Now I'm gonna be fucking stuck looking at it now.
Should have came prepared.
While David looks up Robert Sheehan's filmography, let's talk about the pacing of the show. Did we like the flow? Did it get stagnant? I mean, for me, I loved it. I already said
Misfits. Sorry, it's called Misfits.
Okay.
Misfits.
Yes.
There we go.
Check it out. I think it might be on Netflix.
For me,
it is actually, or it was for some point in time.
Misfits. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Check it
Because
out.
I thought I looked up all of his stuff, but I didn't watch all of it. But I'm gonna have to look up that one. Alrighty. So Raven, what were some of your nitpicks, if you had any, for season 2?
Yeah. So I had a few nitpicks, and that does not mean that I did not like this. But
yes,
one of my nitpicks is I wanted to time travel a little more. I think I got excited thinking like we were gonna go a couple of places, or that I think I was kind of disappointed realizing that we were gonna stay in one kind of time zone for the full season. And I also got kind of disappointed realizing that they were going to stay the same age throughout the whole thing, and we weren't going to be able to see their upbringing and the way that they grew up. Because I feel like, in terms of just the actors, if you want them to play younger roles, even just for a flashback, time's running out. So I want to see that prequel.
For Adrian, that's basically it, because he's the only one that's going to look dramatically different, like,
yeah.
5 years from now. If they wait too long. It's like Stranger Things. Those kids are starting to look old. And
wait, me, Aiden? I'm like, who's Adrian? Aiden Gallagher?
Aiden, you're right. Aiden Gallagher.
Okay.
It's not Adrian. You're right.
I had to look it up. I was like, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe we're talking about something else.
No, you were right. I was wrong. My bad.
Yeah, but, I do feel that way low. Like, you only have a certain amount of time. They can only go back for so long. So I hoped that would happen. It didn't. But I will say, with what I missed out on, I feel like they gave me more story rather than we're going to hop a bunch of places and give you a bunch of half-ass stories along with like some cool visuals and some cool time hops, Whereas like this one is like, nah, this is where we are. Let's focus on really building the story and teaching us about these characters. So it's like, it's a nitpick, but I'm also appreciative for the change because I like that it wasn't predictable. Another nitpick of mine is, I think although we saw a lot more of certain characters' personalities, I think I would have liked to see certain powers a little more. Like Diego, for example, I completely forgot what he even does up until like episode like 8.
Good with knives.
Yeah, like, but that's what I'm saying. Up until the big fight, I felt like throughout the entire season, like season 2, did he even use his powers other than that one moment?
But it wasn't explained as it was in this scene, which I agree with you on that, because
he was like fist fighting mobs of people, and so it was like even that moment, it was like
skills as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. But I felt like they leaned so heavily on the combat that it's almost like I completely forgot that Diego even had powers. So it was like weird for me
he's not
that
really
he would go so hard on Vanya. Yeah, because I was like, why are you going so hard on Vanya? Your powers are freaking useless. You're like the Jubilee. So it's like, and finally I was like, oh shit. Yeah, he does do something. Like, why did I have to wait to see what you can do? And even with season 1, I felt like I didn't really get to see his powers much. Yeah.
What about you, Dave? Any nitpicks before Raven ruins it for everyone?
I mentioned off podcast, but after reading the comic after the fact, I felt like, and it kind of goes to what Raven said, right, in terms of seeing more powers. It's a pro and a con, because I wish we saw more fantastical elements of the world they live in. In the comics, Pogo isn't isn't one of a kind. And I think I remember season one we did see other flashbacks of other apes or whatever. They're not monkeys. What is he? I don't know what exactly.
Chimpanzee.
Chimpanzee or whatever he is.
Mm-hmm.
But we see more of that. They're like another sentient species. I don't know why in the comics I'm not there yet, but they just exist. And also the comics through flashbacks we get more of their childhood adventures and seeing the fact that they did a whole bunch of stuff when they were kids, saving the world countless times, facing against like larger than life villains. At one point they literally fight against the Eiffel Tower, and a weaponized Eiffel Tower. And so like I almost forget the fantastic elements, and like Raven said, you forget at times that people have powers in this narrative. But then on the flip side, I think that might be by design because when you look at the whole point of Umbrella Academy was to deconstruct the whole smart professor raises a bunch of superpowered kids in a academy narrative, right? That's X-Men. We've seen the superhero stories and narratives play with that. So this was like, well, how can you deconstruct that and focus more on the drama than that? And I think season one was too much drama. Season two balances it more. And I think it's more, once you realize what it's about, you're like, okay, fine. It's not what I wanted, but I kind of like this.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. How about pacing? Did you feel that it kind of dragged at any point? Was it something like a quick watch is it like, a binge watcher, or is it something that you can get through in a week? What do you guys think?
Fun fact.
I think I got through it in a day.
I think
I got through it in like a day, maybe a day.
I got it in about a day. Season 2, every episode's about 10 minutes shorter than season 1.
Which I appreciate, because I felt like there weren't as many moments in this season.
Right.
Like, if anything, this season ended and I felt like I wanted more, I needed more. Instead of like, this is too much and you ain't give me nothing that I asked for. So I appreciate that in this season. And I felt like the pacing was pretty good overall.
Yeah, I like this pacing. I think they did a better job with balancing the character narratives. So like they gave everyone their moments to shine from both the good guy side and the antagonist side. You kind of everyone had their moments. Other characters got to interact with other characters that we hadn't seen before. Because when you have so many characters, you always forget like, well, these characters have never interacted before.
Right.
But I think they did a job of balancing that as well. So I think I like that. And also I think they balanced the humor a lot better. I think sometimes season 1, some of the humor was
better.
like,
it was awkward. Like it didn't land.
Yeah.
Like you're supposed to be laughing, but you're just not feeling it. It's
right,
like somebody holding up the laughter card. Like,
or things were drawn out too long. Like I like the dance number, but that was drawn out. It was like, okay, stop now. It's fun, but it's like almost like breaking in season 1. We know when they start dancing and the screen flips in 2. They had that moment where they were like doing all that.
When they're dancing to I Think We're Alone Now, and this season it was just a shorter scene because they were like bonding over like heartbreak and stuff like that.
And it wasn't afraid to laugh at itself. That's why the humor was better. They feel like real siblings, right? And close friends, we all rag on each other, have fun with each other. Like, I feel like season 1, when they would say something, everyone took it so personal. It's like, damn, didn't you grow up with each other? Why is everything a dramatic, like,
I
when you grow up with people,
because they're all damaged, like,
and this year they showed the damage, but it also showed healing, which
they damaged.
But it's like
worked better,
like you said,
it showed the love that they have for the family because they are getting over some things,
Well, that's the thing. I think you hit it on the nail. I think this season shows them more that yes, their father damaged them, but they always had each other. That kind of thing, and that kind of reminds you this season where they always had each other's back, and that's more the focus. I think the focus is more on family. Like all the other bullshit's thrown away to the side, and even though there's still drama, because that's the point and nature of it, the drama makes more sense. It isn't like, well, that's stupid. Yeah.
What we were talking about pacing and like story narratives, I think it's no surprise or no spoiler to talk about the civil rights narrative that they used and how well done it was. To me, I don't think it was cheesy at all, and sometimes it can be a little forced if you're talking about things in the past, or it's like it'd be too sappy or too emotional, but I feel like this was the perfect blend of satire and history and comedy and all of that, and like really dealing with like issues that would affect people in this time, like real relationship issues and real issues that a husband and wife would face, that now even sometimes with the police brutality and discrimination that goes on in the world. So what did you guys feel about the 1960s civil rights time frame? Did you guys like that? Was that one of your favorite aspects? Do you think you could have visited a different time? Like, what did you guys think?
I thought that was the best part of it, to be honest with you. I think
Same,
that,
me too.
going by what Raven said in terms of expecting them to travel to different places, if I didn't get that, this was a good version that I didn't expect to get. Even little things like,
It
we
was
spoke at the top of the
refreshing.
podcast. Yeah. And even reminding, like, okay, yes, they're all siblings. It was like, yeah, but this one's the only one that's black.
Yes.
So it's like, it highlighted that though, I won't say who, but other characters where it's like, yeah, but she's black. You guys are white. You guys can get away with certain things. And she's a black woman, so it makes it even worse for her in this time setting, And so it's like, but the series doesn't shy away from that. It doesn't pretend to be anything but that. And I appreciated them for that. Yeah. Because it could have easily just hint, but not deal with it. It very much deals with it. It's not afraid to deal with it. And it also shows, like, a lot of the problems with when you deal with in time travel narratives going to the past is that you can't solve everything. You can't just go to the past and be like, I solved civil rights because of time travel.
Right.
Because then it diminishes the impact of it.
Exactly.
But then it's like, well, what can you do with the narrative? But I think they find creative ways to deal with the narrative where it isn't just, let's fix civil rights by doing time travel. Yay. It's like, no, it's still, people still have to work hard. She is seen, especially, we're privileged, right? Even us as black people in the present, as much as bad things are going for us, we're privileged because what they had to go through, right? Like,
exactly.
Yeah,
we can we can even have a conversation where they couldn't even have a conversation. We can get on Twitter like, fucking white people, blah, blah, blah. Like, if they did that, they're arrested just for doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
And this reminded you through her that she, she's a person from the future. She has to go back to the past, but her frustrations are like, I know where this all goes. And I can't do anything about it. But I know things will be better than this. They'll just never get perfect. And I love that it kind of deals with that, right? Like, someone talks to her about, like, we get a moment where it's like, does the future get better? It's like, it does, but it doesn't.
It's like, well,
but don't lose hope.
Right?
Lose hope, though.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
And I like that. It doesn't hide that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we gotta kind of round this down because I feel like we talk about Umbrella Academy forever. Spoiler
I'll
time.
do a quick fire spoiler.
Fire spoiler. Go. Who's first?
Go on, Raven.
I liked how they dealt with Vanya's love interest and feelings overall, because I felt like
much
in the
better
first
this
film,
season.
we all watched the first season and we weren't falling for it. I'm sorry, Ellen Page is Ellen Page. She's a lesbian. It was uncomfortable, season 1. Especially that dude. It was like, come on. So I felt like this season around, I was like, God, I hope she's with a woman. And she was. And I was like, whoa. It's crazy because her first female she was with is in the 60s. Like, whereas, like, had she done the same thing in 2019, maybe she wouldn't have blown the moon up.
What I liked about...
You got to be your true self, girl.
What I liked about that narrative with that woman, though, was that it wasn't done so black and white, where they didn't do the cliche route of the husband, he was a drunk, beating on the wife, blah, blah. Because he was almost kind of like
he was a
decent
bigot
guy.
Yeah.
He was almost kind of like a decent guy.
Because like he said,
until
he did all the things. It's like, this is the
things.
Checklist of solid husband in the 60s. And I'm all right.
He's like, I did everything. So it's like, but it also shows that, bigotry and all that kind of stuff isn't just on the fucking KKK, Hell Hitler,
level. Yeah, there's
people.
subtleties.
It can be subtle. Yeah, there's subtleties. Because there's some moments where you're kind of like, damn, I feel sorry for this guy. But then he was like, wait, no, he's kind of a dick. Then it's like, well, like there's this back and forth. So it's not just.
There's a definite gray area with the relationship, which is
because she kind of cheated, but but she's kind of in a bad situation. But she's like,
did cheat.
So it's like, going,
yeah, Vanya's a homewrecker.
I know.
Technically, it's like, you raise this man's kids, and then when he goes to work, you plotting on his wife. It's the definition of a homewrecker. But at the same time, I was with it. I was like, girl, You go
Get
live out your
yours.
dreams.
But again, but I'm saying it's
Um,
like it's not so clean cut with it.
I did
That's
appreciate that though, because they did tell every side. Because like even when Vanya wants to run away, even myself as the viewer, I was watching. I was like, girl, that's just not how things go. You can't just do that. This woman has
but
a
then
whole life and child, and it's like you can't. It's not as easy for her. It's like you've never cared about anybody in your life. This is the first person you cared
mhm.
about. And now you're like, devote yourself to me. Like, girl, you don't even know what you
But
want.
also
You don't
like
even know your name when I met you 2 weeks ago. I'm supposed to leave?
but it's like you have the
No.
benefit of being raised in the present, right, or the future, where you know that it's
Exactly. You
easier
can be
for
naive.
people, right? And it's like, well, forget it's the '60s. It's not so open for women and gay people. It's not like that.
Not
Like,
at
and so
all.
for even this woman who is kind of going through her own sexuality, she's grown up in an environment that says this is evil. It's not so
Hmm.
easy to like. It's easier for us today.
It's
Yes, it's
easier
still
said than
hurdles,
done.
but it's still easier.
Exactly.
Exactly. I like that angle of it.
Because
Um,
even if she was from, New York, she was a city girl, it wouldn't have mattered. It would have
mhm.
been the same situation. People were in the closet in the 60s in New York too, so it's not even just her location, it's like it's literally the time. And
Absolutely.
is I felt like I appreciated that they showed how naive she was. And I also appreciate that this season kind of gave her some like real world experience because she needed it, man.
I just still wish I don't know. This is purely a David thing, and it doesn't diminish the show for me. I just wish it was a different actress and not Ellen Page. There's just some things about her that just like
Yeah.
I don't know. She's
Like I
distracting.
almost
She's distracting. That's what it is. I don't know what
I
it
mean,
is.
it's true because the whole time I'm like Ellen Page. Like, for example, right, the Last of Us game is not even Ellen Page, but it looks exactly like her, and I cannot stop calling that girl Ellen. I will not stop. I literally call her little Ellen Page throughout the whole game.
Little Ellen Page.
It doesn't matter. You know what
Oh
I'm
my
saying? Like, once you
god, you
get
guys are
that
so
idea in
cute.
your head, that's it. It's Ellen Page. Something, what's her name? Gillian would have been like, great.
Karen
Somebody
Gillian.
like that. Yeah, like someone like that can play
Yeah,
awkward and nerdy, but still badass to where you're like afraid of
that's
them,
the thing. Yeah, like I don't like even when they show her do the badass stuff. I'm just like that water scene in the water. I was like, that's cool, but it's Ellen Page. I didn't even like her in X Men.
Yeah. Even when it was like, even when she was blowing up the moon, like when she has like the dope ass outfit on, normally that suit I would lose it. That would be a trigger
I
for me.
just feel
I'd be like,
like
oh my God. And I was just like,
I feel like
hey, look at
everything she
Ellen Page in
does,
that
she
white
just
suit. But it's one of
and
those things where I almost wish that they just fully embraced that she was Ellen Page and stopped trying to like dance around it, and then like
right.
let her be Ellen Page
Well,
as
I think they
Vanya.
did, and that's why she has the relationship this season. Because I was like, oh, you basically told them you're not making out with any more guys, huh? Because I thought that was in her contract. Like I thought that was like in
Right.
her thing when she came out. She was like, I'm not going to play like hetero. I thought I read that somewhere, which
Yeah,
is fine. I know a lot of actors that like they have preferences, and once you make it that big, it like people are making you for like make out with
Mhm.
men, and you're just like, no, I'm only making out with females from now on. Like go ahead, girl, whatever.
Can we have a mini series of Herb and Diego? Because I want to keep seeing their handshake.
he was like my favorite character, Herb, man.
Yeah.
Herb is
Fun fact:
amazing.
he was the body double for Pogo. But
Yeah,
I
I
loved his
freaking
narrative.
love Herb.
You
Me
right? I
too.
love when him and Diego getting like just that partnership they build up in the background.
Yeah.
Lila,
I love her.
I liked her character. I liked how
Herb
she
was
I
cool.
I
I like that she wasn't like a typical, oh, I was raised to do bad, and even though I
Mhm,
know it's wrong, I'm gonna do it blindly because this is how I
mhm.
was raised. I like that it was like, no, my mom's freaking nuts. I'm gonna do what I gotta do to protect myself because she's no limits. I like that
I
she
liked
was
her relationship with the
aware.
mom.
Yeah, because I felt like it was believable. I felt
Hmm.
like
she
she
got
really
get outed.
did. Yeah, like I felt like her mom and her had the same goals for a while, but once they didn't, she
Yeah.
went her separate ways, and I respected that. Like, whereas, other times we'll see that same story play out, and the kid will stand by the parent no matter what till the very end, and it's
Hmm.
exhausting.
My favorite episode this season was definitely episode 9 when it's the big reveal of the professor being an alien. If you guys read the comic, you know that it's already revealed in like the first episode, so it's not too much of a spoiler for you. But for me, it was a huge spoiler. Literally, mouth on the floor. And then for me, Ben is one of my favorite characters, so the Ben's death scene like got me a little choked up. I was really messed up about that when he came back at the end, and I was like, but he's evil Ben, but at least he's back. So that will be interesting to see how that plays out.
The Sparrow Academy. Fun fact, throughout the whole season, there are Sparrow Easter eggs listed throughout the entire season.
Interesting.
Yeah, yes, so if you guys watch it again, look for Sparrows.
Also, I forgot to mention how I absolutely love that Klaus became a cult leader in this one because he
amazing.
Because that's what I think the reason why people love Klaus so much, because Klaus is you. Like, Klaus says everything.
Yeah, Klaus, like, out of all of them, he's the one that I'd probably be most like in that situation.
Like, yes, he's an addict, but like, there's definite trauma linked. Like, if you got sent back in time to the Vietnam War, and then
also he sees dead people.
Yeah, like
I was gonna say his power is linked to his trauma.
Yeah, so his power, like, it's centered. Yeah, so you're gonna have to use something to numb the pain. And then he's just so real and funny, and just that's how I don't know, that Klaus is just everything.
But he's also
like,
selfish,
as selfish as he is, he's super
Klaus is everyone's
that's the
he's
thing.
like insanely self-absorbed.
Yes,
but like also
but that's why I like him and Ben,
the biggest kind-hearted. Like
him and Ben were my favorite this season. Like, Ben humanized Klaus, and like Ben, like there's, what it is, because when you have such a large family, especially multiple siblings, there are siblings that are closer to each other, and I love the friendships that they develop within the sibling relationships. So Diego and Vanya, I love that their relationship got stronger, because theirs was like
he's a dick.
And season 1 he was like a real dick, and I loved that, the whole scene with Luther, and you think that Luther's going to go try to get vengeance, and his is just a true apology. And I think seeing scenes like that on screen really translates to real world scenes where like people do have to they want to inflict vengeance and they want to hurt somebody, and then they decide to forgive. But yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for listening. I am Mercedes here with my two co-hosts again, English Dave and Raven. And Raven, sign us off, please.
As always, guys, keep it nerdy.
Peace.
Peace, guys.
Hey.